today a more of a defense day? Because it seemed like quarterbacks kind of had a rough one.
Well, we try to. If you were here the other day, it was a little bit more of an offensive day, and sometimes you stick the ball in the red zone, the 25 and the 11 the other day, and then you go team. So to put the defense in those negative situations and then have those emotions sometimes when they're scoring, and then you got to go and play. Today's one of those tough days offensively. We had a 3rd and 11, a 3rd and 9, 3rd and 7. Go through that situation, then you go to 2nd and 10 and play it. So the defense or the offense is obviously behind. And really what you want to see is how do those guys handle it? How do they take that next step when you go to team where they just had those really, really tough situations and maybe things didn't go their way? Can they take that next step, put it past them and say, hey, we got a new fresh set of downs? And I think that's where the youth, a little bit of what we're seeing is coming out in us. It happened yesterday defensively. It's a great opportunity for us to make examples of it, and then same today.
Just complete the halfway point of spring. How would you evaluate to this point?
I mean, yes, actually, we're over the halfway point now with practice 8. And I told him before we had 9 guys that couldn't practice last year at this time. And those weren't like surgery guys. Those were guys that had been hurt some of those first 7 practices. And really, we only had 1, and we ended up now with 2 guys that can't practice right now. So a lot of those things that you don't really see and talk about all the time about, just your culture of how you take care of yourself, how you handle yourself. All of a sudden you're seeing our guys are in better situations to continue to play football. So in that case, they're getting more reps, they're playing the game more. So in turn, I think we're becoming better football players. Now we just got to find a way to put it all together. And they put the ball down, they go live, and they got to see those next steps happen.
Do you feel like people are getting more comfortable with you, coaching staff, things like that?
I do. Anytime into that next year, I think they understand what the routine. The big thing is expectations, and everybody's expectations for different things are different. And in that first year, it's a little bit of a shock to the system. The expectations. I don't just everybody has expectations to win, but I'm talking about how you prepare, how you do the things which we believe the way to win. And so that step to understanding that, knowing what to kind of look forward to, and building those routines, I think has really helped.
Seems like Bryant has typically been one of your first corners out there. How's he coming along? And just tell me a little bit about him.
Good. I mean, he's a kid that played a little bit for us last year, and we probably made a little bit of a mistake with him early on. We had him at safety. Probably halfway through the year until we moved him out to corner where, his abilities can kind of play and there's not as many things that are happening to you around you. So you can kind of lock in and focus on one thing. And so you've seen the growth since he's kind of been in one spot. When you move guys, it takes a toll on you. You can't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. So his ability to be in one spot, his ability to learn that spot, you're starting to see his confidence continue to grow.
Coached his brother is in the NFL. Is there a lineage there that you like?
No, and sometimes when you know the history, it's just like people would say, "Oh, you got to get your recruits." No, it's just the kids that are juniors and seniors, the Cortez Bryants of the world. Unfortunately, we don't know their family, so we don't have as good a feeling as how they've grown up and how they're motivated and how you need to reach them. And it takes time. When you have a guy that like this, where you've known the family for a long time, whether they're a freshman or not, you've known their brother and coached their brother. You have a better understanding of how to motivate them, how to communicate with them, how to connect with them. It's different than some of the others. So I think that's been a benefit to me. Maybe a little bit harder on him because I know the ins and the outs, and there's not going to be any tricks. I know pretty much everything and some of those things. So I mean, I think that's as you see that in the comfort level to a lot of the things we're doing with our program.
Ethan Tuckey was a guy that you recruited out of high school. He transferred, sat out last year, and he's been moving up the depth chart a little bit throughout the spring. Talk about him and his ability at defensive end.
Ethan's one of those guys that that we kind of really praise in the program. We're looking for those guys that play hard, and we have a distinct description of what play hard looks like, and visually what other people need to see in order to be that, and that's what he is. So his chances, his opportunities continue to rise because by nature he's a play hard guy. So right now he's put in a situation that, hey, we're going to keep giving him more and more reps and create an expectation for him because he's the culture of the program.
You talk about special teams being important. That's a guy that was sub-11 in the 100 meters.
He's a big body that can run for us.
Probably not that fast anymore, but still.
No, but there's some things to that being said, and it comes down to more of a mentality. Special teams a lot of times is a mentality. Some guys don't think it's in the forefront of what they're doing, and I think that's one of those things that understand the expectations in our entire program that you don't just go out on the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side of the ball if there's not some contribution to special teams. And to have guys like that naturally play hard, that believe in the things you're talking about, it's not as much of a sell job. It's not some things you got to create that's different.
Can you talk about some Malik and some of the freshmen, how they've been looking so far?
Well, the biggest thing for them is understanding that the game is different. And I think that a guy like Malik is mature beyond his years, so his ability to transition, not with size and speed, but just the game in general, the expectations, the little things you got to do to be successful, has given him a great opportunity. Same with Ben Bryant, the mature beyond their years kind of guy. Obviously, Charles is a little bit different. Not that he's not mature beyond his years, his ability as a running back to not be worried, to just let natural abilities play has shown up. And so those guys have had a lot of opportunities. Lawrence Metz is the other guy that maybe hasn't had as many opportunities, and this is a different game to him as well. But those guys, their ability to go hard, be mature enough to handle the things off of the football field, it's going to give them the opportunity to play.
With them being your first full recruiting class, can you kind of talk about maybe their responsibility to help you and the program turn around?
Well, I think that we want everybody to feel that sense of pride and that sense of responsibility. But them taking that next step to, we had the Jarrell Whites and those guys that were the year before were quick, but those guys did a great job at really talking with those guys in the recruiting side of things for the following year. And now we got to take it the next step further. These guys that have take great pride in this place, that have had a whole year of us recruiting them, understand the expectation. Their chance to step outside of even the football field to do what some of those guys did in a short period to help us for the future is huge, as well as setting a great culture.
Malik doesn't look like the same guy. I mean, what do you see him doing? He's chiseled now.
He doesn't look like the same guy even from the first day of practice to this day. And it's just more, he's mature, very mature guy, so he takes coaching really well, whether it's tough and it's hard and it's honest. He takes it well. And you've seen his ability to grow from mistakes he's made. And that doesn't happen always from a young guy. A young guy, even if they go hard, their opportunity, their mental capacity to kind of handle some of that tough, hard coaching, to realize what they need to do, and not just rely on their abilities. He's very fortunate. We're very fortunate to have him. He's very fortunate the way he's grown up to be mature enough to handle those things. And from practice 1 to practice 8, you've seen a bigger jump than even the pictures you've seen him in the first 3 months of his body.
Is that why he can move from tackle to end and bounce back and forth?
There's a great example of why guys can understand the concepts to what we're doing as opposed to just memorization. And it takes a different mentality. It takes a different, I'm not saying intelligence level, but a skill and a want to.
You good? All right. Thank you, Coach.